Drake is done for. People are saying the sixth guy just walked into his own execution, and Kendrick Lamar didn't even have to pull the trigger himself this time. This whole situation has the internet spinning because leaked court documents just exposed what might be the most embarrassing collapse in hip-hop history. While Drake is reportedly crying to a judge about his reputation, insiders are leaking a 2026 master plan involving Baby Keem that has fans absolutely terrified. It's not just a beef anymore, it's a systematic destruction. And if the rumors about what's coming next are true, it's straight up over. Everybody thought they knew how this war ended. We all saw Not Like Us break the internet. We saw the memes, the club anthems, the victory lap. That was the version everyone repeated. Kendrick won the battle, Drake took the L, and we all moved on. But now, new legal filings and a terrifying industry rumor got the whole narrative twisting into something way darker. See, we thought Drake was just gonna drop a few subliminals and keep it pushing. That's the standard playbook, right? But what's happening right now isn't standard, it's desperate. While the world was watching the charts, Drake was reportedly plotting a legal war that just backfired in the worst way possible. And on the other side, Kendrick isn't just sitting back. New reports suggest while Drake is fighting lawyers, Kendrick is building an empire designed to suffocate his competition. We're talking about a level of strategy that makes 4D chess look like tic-tac-toe. The story isn't about a rap battle anymore. It's about one man building a legacy while the other man allegedly tries to sue his way out of a nightmare. The narrative has shifted from who has the better bars to is Drake's career literally about to be erased? And honestly, when you look at the evidence piling up, it's hard to argue against it. Let's get into the receipts, because this is where things get straight up uncomfortable. We have to start with the hard evidence that is literally on public record. No theories yet, just cold, hard facts that paint a brutal picture. First up, the legal meltdown. You've probably seen the headlines floating around, but let's really look at what happened. Drake sued Universal Music Group, his own label. He claimed defamation, he claimed they didn't protect him, he claimed Not Like Us ruined his name, and that the label profited off his destruction. That's a wild move for a guy who claims to be the biggest boss in the game. But here is the kicker. Judge Vargas dismissed the case in January 2026, threw it out. Think about what that looks like. The man who raps about mob ties and street politics is standing in a federal courtroom, 6'0", asking a judge to fix what a Compton rapper did with a beat and a pen, and the judge said no. Now reports say he's filed a 50-plus page appeal. 50 pages. That is 50 pages of begging the legal system to save a reputation that the culture already decided was cooked. It's not just an L, it's a humiliation on official letterhead. But while Drake is drowning in paperwork, look at what Kendrick is doing. This is the contrast that has everyone losing their minds. We are talking about verified, documented dominance. The man won a Pulitzer Prize. That's a fact. First rapper in history. He put the entire GNX album on the Hot 100. That is Beatles territory. That is Michael Jackson territory. The NFL handed him the Super Bowl halftime show for 2025. These aren't internet rumors. These are institutions, the biggest ones in the world, bending the knee to Kendrick. And then you have the T.I. video. This footage is going to be in the history books. T.I. gets on camera, no stuttering, no hesitation, and calls Kendrick the most successful revolutionary rapper alive. He didn't say one of, he said alive. He compared him to legends like KRS-One, Common, Mos Def, The Roots. He pointed out that usually you have to choose. You can be conscious or you can be commercially successful. You can't be both. But Kendrick, he broke the matrix. He made All Right a protest anthem that gets played in the club. He made an album about therapy and daddy issues go platinum. T.I. laid it out plain. Kendrick is an anomaly. Now, let's pivot to the darker side of this evidence, the stuff that isn't in a court document but is flooding the streets. We need to talk about the Not Like Us aftermath. It wasn't just a song, it was an allegation that stuck. Online detectives have been dissecting Drake's moves ever since, and the energy has shifted. He's not moving with that same arrogance. The memes didn't stop. The certified lover boy image didn't just crack, it shattered. And when you look at the timeline of his releases since then, the numbers are huge, sure, but the cultural impact? It's hitting different. It feels hollow. Fans are noticing it, critics are noticing it, and clearly, based on this lawsuit, Drake is noticing it too. But here is where the internet sleuths are doing the real work. They've been tracking the movements of PLANG, Kendrick's company. They're watching Baby Keem, they're watching the release schedules, and what they're finding is a pattern that looks terrifyingly calculated. There are whispers, strong ones, about a coordinated attack in 2026. We're seeing reports of a Baby Keem album that is perfectly slotted to drop right when Drake and J. Cole are rumored to be releasing. And this isn't just any album. The streets are talking about features, 2 specific Kendrick features, one on a hook that supposedly carries that same not like us energy, and one verse where he allegedly goes into full execution mode. People are zooming in on Instagram stories, tracking flight logs, looking at who's in the studio with who. There was a rumor about a video shoot in a New York taxi, Kendrick and Keem together. No official photos dropped, but the chatter was loud, too loud to be nothing. And then you have HAIJ, Kendrick's close associate, posting that cryptic message after GNX dropped. That was something light the homie gave y'all. Something light? GNX was a cultural reset, and his team is calling it a warm-up? That is the piece of evidence that has people sweating. If GNX was the warm-up, what is the main event? The internet is piecing it together, and the picture they're building is a 2026 takeover that leaves no room for Drake or Cole to breathe. It's not just about dropping music, it's about sucking the oxygen out of the room. It's a specific kind of strategy. You don't just beat your opponent, you make them irrelevant. You make their music sound old before it even drops. You make their entire existence feel like a relic of the past. That is what the evidence is pointing to. While Drake is playing lawyer, Kendrick is playing history, and the gap between them is getting wider every single day. Online detectives are even comparing the public appearances. Kendrick pops out, it's a global event. The pop-out show was legendary. The Super Bowl was massive. Drake pops out, it feels like damage control. It feels like he's trying to convince us he's still the guy, and that desperation is what fans are picking up on. They're seeing the sweat on his brow, metaphorically speaking. They're seeing the cracks in the armor, and when you stack that up against Kendrick's silence, his precision, his accolades, it's brutal. The numbers don't lie, but the vibes tell the real story. And right now, the vibes are saying that Drake is fighting a war he already lost, while Kendrick is preparing for a victory lap that might actually end careers. We're talking about a shift in the hierarchy that we haven't seen since the 90s, and the evidence from the court docs to the charts to the streets is all saying the same thing. The king is crowned, and the other guys are just fighting for second place. Now, let's get into the motive, because this is where everything starts clicking. Why is this happening right now? Why is Drake suing a label he helped build? Why is Kendrick allegedly preparing a nuclear strike for 2026 when he's already on top? You have to understand the history here. This didn't start with first-person shooter. This has been brewing for a decade. Let's talk about Drake's situation first. The motive for his legal meltdown is pure, unadulterated panic. Think about it. For 10 years, this man was untouchable. He was the hitmaker, the stimulus package. If Drake got on your song, you went platinum. He controlled the summer. He controlled the radio. He lived in a reality where he could do no wrong. But that kind of power creates a bubble. And when Kendrick popped that bubble, he didn't just hurt Drake's feelings. He messed with the money. He messed with the legacy. Drake's motive isn't just about clearing his name. It's about survival. He built a brand on being the cool guy, the lover boy, the guy who always wins. Not Like Us turned him into a punchline. It turned him into a predator in the eyes of millions. That destroys brand deals. That destroys legacy. That makes people look at you funny when you walk into the room. His motive for suing UMG is desperation. He feels betrayed. He feels like the machine he fed for years turned around and ate him. He's looking for someone to blame because looking in the mirror is too painful. He went from mob ties to, "Your Honor, please help me," because he realized he couldn't win in the streets or on the charts anymore. That is a terrifying place for a narcissist to be. And let's be real about the financial side. We assume these guys have infinite money, and they do, but they also have infinite expenses. A brand collapse like this, it hits the pockets. Tours might not sell out as fast, merch sits on the shelves, the Drake stimulus isn't worth what it used to be. That creates pressure, and pressure bursts pipes. That's why we're seeing these erratic moves. That's why we're seeing 50-page appeals. He's trying to legally mandate respect because he can't earn it musically right now. Now flip the coin to Kendrick. What is his motive? Why keep going? He won, right? He got the Super Bowl. He got the Pulitzer. Why is he allegedly loading up Baby Keem with lethal weapons for 2026 when Kendrick has already set the standard? Because for Kendrick, this was never just about a beef. It was about a correction. Kendrick has always seen himself as the guardian of the culture. He's the guy who studies the greats, Pac, Biggie, Jay, Nas. He looks at hip-hop as an art form that needs to be protected. And for years, he watched Drake turn it into a pop algorithm. He watched the culture get commercialized, watered down, and exploited. He watched a guy from Toronto cosplay as an Atlanta trapper, then a UK driller, then a Caribbean dancehall artist. And it bothered him deeply. His motive is ideological. He wants to prove that substance beats algorithm. He wants to prove that you can take 5 years off, come back with a dense, complicated album, and still smoke the guy who drops a mediocre playlist every 6 months. He wants to reset the standard. And there's a personal element too, don't get it twisted. Kendrick is competitive. He heard the sneak dishes for years. He heard Drake claiming the crown. He heard J. Cole saying Big Three, and he took offense. Motherfuck the Big Three, it's just Big Me. That wasn't a catchy line, that was a mission statement. His motive is to stand alone, to separate himself so far from the pack that nobody ever dares to put their names in the same sentence again. And then there's J. Cole, the tragic middle child in all of this. His motive? He just wants to be seen. He spent his whole career trying to be the bridge between the lyrical miracle rap and the mainstream. He wanted to be the nice guy who could rap his ass off. But in a war, the nice guy gets slaughtered. His motive for teasing the fall-off for 2026 is to prove he still matters. He wants a seat at the table, but the tragedy is the table might not even exist by the time he gets there. He's fighting for a bronze medal in a race where the gold matters. You also have to look at the broader industry motive, the labels, the executives, the media. They love this, they feed on this, but they also fear it. UMG is in a weird spot. They make money off of both of them, but Drake suing them? That breaks the code. That messes up the business model. Their motive is to squash this, to make it go away, to get back to selling records. But they can't control Kendrick. Nobody can. And that's the scariest part for Drake. He's fighting a ghost. Kendrick disappears. He goes to Ghana. He hangs out with his kids. He doesn't tweet. He doesn't go on live streams crashing out. He moves in silence. And that silence is deafening. It lets the public imagination run wild. It lets the rumors fester. It lets the not like us chants echo louder. Kendrick's motive is legacy. Drake's motive is ego preservation, and history tells us that legacy usually wins over ego in the long run. Think about the timing too, 2026. Why then? Because it gives the world enough time to miss Kendrick and enough time to get tired of Drake's antics. It's calculated, it's military strategy, it's Sun Tzu art of war stuff. Appear weak when you're strong and strong when you're weak. Drake is out here appearing strong with his lawsuits and his Instagram captions, but he's weak. Kendrick is nowhere to be found, appearing weak or absent, but he's gathering strength. The backstory of the Big Three was always a lie. He was a marketing tactic, and Kendrick decided to expose the lie. That's the core motive, to burn down the fake structure of hip-hop and build something real on top of the ashes. And if Drake and Cole have to be the collateral damage for that to happen, so be it. We are watching a Greek tragedy play out in real time. The hero who refused the call then finally accepted it and destroyed the usurper. The king who flew too close to the sun and got burned, and the observer who got caught in the crossfire. It's Shakespearean, it's biblical, and it's not over yet. The financial decline of Drake's brand, the psychological toll of the allegations, the legal desperation, it all paints a picture of a man on the ropes. And Kendrick, the executioner, is just sharpening the blade, waiting for the perfect moment to swing. The motive isn't just to win, it's to end the debate forever, to make sure that 20 years from now, when people talk about this era, there is only one name that matters. And right now, it looks like that name is going to be Lamar.
But here's the part that really hits different. We get caught up in the memes and the diss tracks and the who won of it all. But there is a human cost here that is actually kind of terrifying to watch. We are watching a mental collapse happen in 4K resolution. Think about Drake for a second. Forget the billionaire lifestyle, forget the private jets, strip all that away. You are looking at a man who spent his entire adult life building a specific image. He wanted to be loved. He needed to be loved. Every song, every interview, every public move was about validation. Do you love me? Am I the greatest? And in the span of one summer, the entire world looked at him and said, no, we actually think you're a predator. We actually think you're a fraud. That has to destroy you on the inside. You can see it in his eyes in the recent photos. That spark, that arrogant glint, it's gone. It's replaced by something hollow, something defensive. It's the look of a guy who walks into a room wondering who was laughing at him. It's the look of a guy who checks his phone and sees millions of strangers dancing to a song calling him a pedophile. That is psychological torture on a global scale. And he has a family. He has a mother. He has a son. Imagine being Adonis. Imagine going to school and hearing the kids singing Not Like Us. Imagine your dad trying to explain why the whole world is calling him these horrible things. That's not rap beef. That's trauma. That's a kid having to carry the baggage of his father's ego. It's messy, it's sad, and it's real life. Then you look at the fans, the die-hard Drake fans. They are hurting too. It sounds silly, but people invest their identities in these artists. They grew up with Drake. He was the soundtrack to their high school breakups, their college parties, their late-night drives. And now they have to defend him against some of the nastiest allegations imaginable. They're fighting in comment sections, grasping at straws, trying to convince themselves that their hero isn't the villain. It's a collective identity crisis. And on the flip side, you have the J. Cole situation. This is a guy who just wanted to rap. He preaches peace, he rides a bike, he tries to be a good person, and he got dragged into the muddiest, ugliest war in hip-hop history just by proximity. He apologized, which was the mature thing to do, and the internet roasted him for it. They called him soft. They called him a coward. For what? For not wanting to destroy another black man. That's the tragedy of Cole. He tried to be the bigger man in a world that only respects violence. And now he's trapped in this weird limbo, watching his peers tear each other apart while the audience throws tomatoes at him for stepping out of the ring. It's gotta feel lonely. It's gotta feel unfair. And even for Kendrick, winning like this, it's heavy. You don't destroy a contemporary without losing a piece of yourself. You have to go to a dark place to write Meet the Grams. You have to tap into a level of hatred and malice that isn't healthy. We celebrate the victory, but we don't think about the toll it takes to carry that kind of negative energy, to wake up every day knowing you are responsible for dismantling another man's life. This isn't the first time we've seen fame eat people alive, but it feels like the most public execution we've ever witnessed. It's not just about music sales, it's about souls, it's about dignity. And watching Drake flail in the court system, trying to use legal paperwork to bandage a wound that is clearly infected, it's almost hard to watch. It's cringeworthy, yeah, but it's also deeply pathetic in the true sense of the word. It evokes pity. The innocence of the genre feels gone. It used to be competition. Now it feels like annihilation. And for the people caught in the blast radius, the families, the kids, the fans who just wanted good music, it's a lot to process. We're laughing at the memes, but underneath the laughter, there's a weird, uncomfortable silence, because we know deep down that we are watching a tragedy. We're watching the end of an era, and it's ending in blood and lawsuits, not glory.
Now, let's circle back to the evidence, because the deeper you dig, the crazier this gets. We talked about the court docs and the awards, but we need to talk about the rumored 2026 timeline that has industry insiders whispering in panic. This isn't just verified facts anymore. This is the smoke that usually leads to the fire. Let's talk about Baby Keem, the secret weapon. For the last year, Keem has been quiet. Too quiet. But sources, and we're talking about people who claim to have seen the schedules, are saying that 2026 is the year of the P-Lang assault. The theory is that Kendrick isn't even going to dirty his hands with the first strike. He's sending the cousin. The rumor is a Baby Keem album dropping in early 2026, specifically timed to cut off the momentum of whatever Drake tries to release. And the chatter about the features is specific. We aren't hearing, oh, Kendrick might be on it. We're hearing details. One hook that is designed to be a radio killer. Think Not Like Us, but catchier, if that's even possible. And one verse where Kendrick allegedly blacks out. There is talk of a reference to the Ryan Coogler film Sinners. Now, we know that movie is real. We know Kendrick and Coogler have a history. Black Panther, anyone? But the rumor is that Kendrick is using a verse on Keem's album to tie into the movie's themes of vampires and sinners to metaphorically stake Drake through the heart again. It sounds wild, right? Like fan fiction? But then you remember HJ3's post, something light. If GNX was light, a multimedia crossover execution fits Kendrick's MO perfectly.
And let's look at the leaked industry chatter about timelines. There is a persistent rumor that Drake is trying to rush a project called Iceman or something similar to beat the allegations. But every time a date gets floated, Kendrick's camp makes a move. A photo drops, a tweet goes up. It's like psychological warfare. They are daring him to drop so they can step on it. Online detectives found old interviews where Keane talks about being the prince to Kendrick's king, and now fans are convinced the prince is being sent to war. They're analyzing studio pics, looking at the engineer's Instagram stories. They found a producer who works with Keane posting a chess piece emoji the same day Drake filed his appeal. Coincidence? Maybe, but in this beef, there are no coincidences. And what about the J. Cole fall-off situation? The evidence there is tragic. Snippets have leaked, and the reception has been lukewarm. People are saying it sounds dated. They're saying he sounds like he's rapping from 2019. And if Kendrick drops a futuristic, genre-bending verse on Keane's album right before Cole drops, it's over. It makes Cole look like he's driving a horse and buggy while Kendrick is in a spaceship. Let's look at the numbers again, because they tell a story the lawyers can't spin. Since Not Like Us, Drake's streaming numbers on his back catalog have taken a hit in specific demographics. The cool crowd left, the tastemakers left. He's surviving on casual listeners. But Kendrick, his catalog streams are up across the board. Money Trees is charting again. DNA is trending on TikTok. The evidence shows a migration of the fan base. The culture is literally moving its belongings from Drake's house to Kendrick's house. And we have to talk about the 100% verified leaker. Now, take this with a massive grain of salt, but there is an account that predicted the Harry Styles rollout and the Don Toliver surprise drop that is claiming the 2026 timeline is locked. They are saying February, Keem announcement, March, single with Kendrick, April, album drop, May, Drake tries to drop and gets drowned out, summer, Kendrick victory lap album. If that timeline is even 50% true, it's a wrap. It's a suffocating schedule. It doesn't give Drake a window to breathe. And considering how strategic Kendrick was with Euphoria to 616 in LA to Meet the Grams to Not Like Us rollout, dropping back to back to back to suffocate Drake, this strategy tracks. It's the same playbook, just on a macro scale. And we also need to mention the Vince Staples factor. It seems unrelated, right? But Vince's show getting canceled and his comments about marketing are part of the evidence of a shifting industry. The industry is failing the middle class of rappers, pushing everyone to the extremes. You're either a megastar or you're starving. Kendrick understands this. He's using his power to build a lifeboat with P. Lang. Drake is still trying to ride the old industry wave, the one that is crashing. The UMG lawsuit is the biggest piece of evidence that Drake knows the old model is dead. He's suing the system because the system can't save him anymore. He's realizing that playlists and radio deals can't protect you from a cultural revolt. And let's not forget about the phantom tracks. There were rumors of 5 more diss tracks Kendrick has in the vault. 5 plus 5. Remember? He said it. Sweet chin music. The threat of those unreleased tracks is evidence in itself. It keeps Drake paralyzed. He can't go too hard because he knows Kendrick is sitting on a nuke. It's mutually assured destruction, but only one side has the launch codes. The evidence is overwhelming. The court docs prove Drake is panicked. The charts prove Kendrick is dominant. The rumors suggest a coordinated assassination of Drake's remaining career in 2026. And the fans, though, they are eating it up. They're connecting dots that might not even be there, but the picture they're drawing is clear. The sixth god is mortal, and the boogeyman is coming for what's left.
Now, this whole situation gets even crazier when you realize the side stories spinning out of control in the background. It's not just the main characters. The whole cinematic universe of hip-hop is glitching right now. Take the T.I. situation. When he made those comments calling Kendrick the revolutionary, the internet tried to check his history too. People started digging up T.I.'s own controversies, trying to discredit the messenger. But the message stuck. Why? Because T.I. represents that old guard of Southern rap that usually sides with the commercial giant. For him to pivot and bow to the lyrical miracle guy, that shook the room. It signaled that the OGs are picking sides, and they aren't picking the guy with the most hits, they're picking the guy with the most respect. And what about the streamers? The Kai Cenats, the academics of the world. Their role in this is wild. Academics was practically Drake's unofficial PR team during the beef, and look how that turned out. He looked compromised. He looked like he was on the payroll. And now, even the streamers are pivoting. They see the writing on the wall. You see them reacting to Kendrick's new stuff with way more hype. They know where the engagement is. The content economy has decided that Drake failing is better content than Drake winning. That is a dangerous shift for an artist. When your downfall becomes more profitable than your success, you are in trouble. Let's keep it real about the Sinners movie connection too. Ryan Coogler is Hollywood royalty. If Kendrick is tying his music directly into a blockbuster film rollout, that is a level of synergy Drake can't touch. Drake has tried the acting thing. He's tried the producer thing. Euphoria, the show, was cool, but he wasn't the face of it. Kendrick is positioning himself as the face of a cultural movement that spans screens and speakers. It's the difference between being a celebrity and being an icon. And we gotta talk about the conspiracies regarding UMG. There is a deep, dark corner of the internet that believes UMG actually wanted Drake to lose. The theory goes that he was getting too powerful, too expensive, and too hard to control. So they let Kendrick humble him. They let Not Like Us run wild on the radio to lower Drake's stock price so they could renegotiate his deal. Is it true? Who knows? It sounds like a movie plot. But in this industry, crazier things have happened. And Drake suing them certainly adds fuel to that fire. It makes you wonder if he realized he was being set up from the inside. Then there's the fan fiction aspect, the Drake is terrified narrative. We don't know what that man feels. He might be unbothered. He might be in Turks and Caicos sipping a drink. But the perception that he is terrified is what matters. The memes of him looking sad, the videos analyzing his body language, it creates a reality. If millions of people believe you are scared, you are scared. It becomes your brand. And right now, Drake's brand is paranoia. Meanwhile, fans online been working like full-blown investigators on J. Cole's bike rides. Seriously, every time he's spotted on a city bike in New York, people analyze his face. Does he look relieved he's out of the beef? Does he look regretful? It's hilarious, but it shows how invested people are. They want to know the psychological state of these guys. They project their own feelings onto them. Cole has become the avatar for peace of mind, while Drake is the avatar for stress. And let's not forget the ghostwriters. That conversation came back up. With Drake struggling to find a response that sticks, people are asking, did his pen dry up or did his writers leave? The rumors about his camp fracturing are getting louder. OVO doesn't look like the fortress it used to be. The Weeknd left, Party Next Door is doing his own thing, the crew is thinning out, and a king without an army is just a guy in a castle waiting to be sieged. It all adds up to a chaotic mess where truth and fiction are blending together. But the momentum is undeniable. Every side story, every rumor, every conspiracy pushes the same narrative. The Drake era is ending, and the Kendrick era is cementing itself in concrete.
And this story is still unfolding with way bigger implications than just one beef or one lawsuit. What we're seeing here is a shift in what the culture values. For the last 15 years, numbers were God. If you sold the most, you were the best. Period. Drake was the avatar of that era. He was the streaming king. He proved that you could game the algorithm and win. But Kendrick breaking him? That signals the end of the numbers era and the return of the impact era. Not Like Us didn't just outstream Drake, it out-impacted him. It proved that a cultural moment is worth more than a platinum plaque. It proved that you can't algorithm your way out of a character flaw. This is also a warning shot to every artist in the game about the dangers of playing both sides. Drake tried to be the street guy and the pop star. He tried to be the lover and the fighter. And eventually the contradictions caught up with him. You can't rap about mob ties and then sue your label for defamation. The internet keeps receipts. Authenticity is becoming the most valuable currency again. You have to be who you say you are. We're also seeing the weaponization of the legal system in hip-hop beefs. This is a dangerous precedent. If rappers start suing each other or labels every time they lose a battle, the art form dies. Rap battles are supposed to be the gladiatorial arena where anything goes. If you bring HR into the ring, you ruin the sport. Drake's lawsuit might save his bank account, but it's killing the spirit of hip-hop. It's gentrifying the beef. And look at the power of the internet mob. We are seeing how quickly the internet can dismantle a superhero. It took a decade to build Drake and one summer to tear him down. That speed is terrifying. It shows that nobody is too big to fail. If the collective consciousness decides you're done, you're done. Cancel culture is one thing, but this was cringe culture. They didn't just cancel him, they made him uncool. And for a rapper, being uncool is a fate worse than death. Kendrick's strategy also changes the blueprint for releases. The mystery approach is winning. In an era of oversharing where artists are on TikTok every day begging for streams, Kendrick stays hidden. He creates scarcity. He proves that less is more. He's teaching the next generation that you don't have to be a content creator to be an artist. You can just be an artist. So this isn't just about two guys fighting. It's about the soul of the genre. It's about truth versus marketing, art versus algorithms, silence versus noise. And right now, truth, art, and silence are winning by a landslide. So where does this end? If the rumors are true, 2026 is going to be the funeral. If Baby Keem dropped that album with Kendrick features, and if Kendrick follows up with a solo project, and if Drake is still stuck in appeals court, it's a wrap. We might be looking at a world where Drake becomes a legacy act. He'll still tour, he'll still make money, but he won't move the needle. He'll be the guy playing the old hits while the culture moves on without him. And for J. Cole, the fall-off might be a self-fulfilling prophecy. He might drop a great album that nobody hears because the noise from the Kendrick-Drake war is too loud. The speculation is that Kendrick is aiming for total erasure. He doesn't just want to win, he wants to be the only one left standing. He wants to close the book on the Big Three era and open the book on the Big Me era. And honestly, he's already holding the pen. Stay locked in because this story is about to get even crazier. We got court dates coming up, we got Baby Keem rumors heating up, and you know Kendrick is plotting something wild. So drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Drake can survive this lawsuit? Is the 2026 master plan real? And is Kendrick officially the GOAT? Make sure you like the video, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single update. I appreciate you rocking with me. Stay safe, and remember, in this game, the internet never forgets.
Peace.